Until that fateful day, the quiet neighborhood never suspected a thing. This dog, seemingly ordinary, barked relentlessly at a tree. When curious cops investigated, they unveiled a shocking secret hidden within the bark, a revelation that left the entire community confused and on edge. Nova's instincts lead to a startling crime scene. In the town where Nova and her owner, Kyle, resided, the highly trained police dog relished the liberty of roaming freely through the woods without a leash. Kyle, having full confidence in Nova's instincts, granted her this freedom, secure in the knowledge that she would unfailingly respond to his commands. Yet, on a peculiar day, Nova displayed an unusual restlessness. Engaging her acute sense of smell and keen listening, she abruptly darted forward, emitting a determined growl. Despite Kyle calling after her, Nova, for the first time, disregarded his calls and vanished into the thick woods. After a panicky search, Kyle finally located Nova barking at a large dead tree. Intrigued but puzzled, he approached the hollowed-out trunk. Nova's training had taught Kyle to trust her instincts, and he believed she had found something significant. With cautious curiosity, he attempted to pry a piece of bark from the tree. Failing in his attempt, Kyle spotted a sharp rock nearby. Listening for a hollow sound, he struck the tree, revealing a shocking sight, a hand protruding from the trunk. Startled, Kyle recoiled in fear. It was evident that this discovery required police intervention, but he hesitated, unsure of what they were dealing with. Not wanting to involve the authorities without more information, Kyle decided to investigate further. As he pulled away more bark, an unexpected object fell out, a life-sized doll dressed in a blood-stained police uniform. Baffled and alarmed, Kyle immediately called the police. When they arrived, he explained the situation, and they dispatched Nova's former partner, James, to assess the scene. James, who had a deep bond with Nova, rushed to the location, guided by the familiar sound of her barking. Upon arriving, James was greeted by an exuberant Nova who had missed her old partner. Their reunion was heartwarming, filled with tail wags and affection. However, James quickly shifted his focus to the mysterious discovery. As the forensic team dismantled the tree, they unveiled a peculiar collection of objects, including a police uniform-clad doll with real blood on it. The implications were unnerving. With James's request, Nova, now fully engaged in the investigation, was given the task of sniffing the doll's clothing for clues. Her training kicked in, and she began tracking a scent through the forest. After a brief journey, Nova led them to a clearing where the trail seemed to end. Frustratingly, they discovered tire tracks, suggesting someone had driven to the spot. Realizing they needed more evidence, they returned to the police station. Nova's presence was met with joy, as she was a beloved figure among the officers. James delved into the records, uncovering that the uniform's name tag belonged to a former officer named Dean, who had been fired for tampering with evidence. As they dug deeper, the forensic team determined that the blood on the uniform matched Dean's blood type. Curious and concerned, James continued his investigation. The trail led them to Dean's abandoned home, where they learned from a neighbor that he had been missing for weeks. The neighbor also mentioned Dean's peculiar departure. He left wearing his police uniform, despite being fired. The plot thickened as James persisted in his search, uncovering a connection between Dean and a cabin owned by his grandfather in the woods. With Nova by his side, they traveled to the cabin, discovering Dean in a battered state, hiding from unknown threats. Dean revealed a shocking truth. He had discovered evidence of corruption involving the police captain who had framed him for taking pictures of confidential documents. In an attempt to expose the corruption, Dean had been ambushed and chased into hiding. The bloody uniform on the doll was a tactic to divert attention. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of the captain, armed and desperate to protect his dark secret. A brief struggle ensued, but Nova's loyalty to James proved crucial as she subdued the captain. With the truth exposed, justice prevailed. Dean was restored, and James was promoted to captain, dismantling the corrupt businessman's empire. As the story progressed, the bond between Nova and James remained unbreakable. Kyle, realizing the depth of their connection, graciously allowed them to continue their partnership. The tale of Nova's bark had not only revealed a shocking crime, but also reunited old friends and ensured that justice prevailed in the face of corruption.